Harm. I am Supergirl.
Hey guys, just finished watching Supergirl Season 3, Episode 5, Damage. This episode was interesting. I mean, it was pretty cool dealing with the whole, first you had the Sandverse breaking up, the Alex and Maggie Zor and stuff like that breaking up. That was kind of an interesting storyline. But then the whole Lena dealing with being blamed for the sick kids and all that stuff, and from the lead bomb that she did in the last season and stuff. And it was an interesting idea, but it was kind of obvious that that guy was behind it, and he faked it and all that stuff. And there was all that, and Morgan Edge was behind it. But it would have been an way more interesting storyline, I think, and less predictable, is if it actually had been the bomb that did it, and there was a small percentage of the kids that were actually affected, very tiny percent, like they said, like 4%, and only like 4% of the city's population were affected by the stuff, and that was to stop the Daxamites from taking over National City, and then eventually the entire world and stuff. I mean, they even took over Superman and stuff like that. So what was the stopping them? So I would have loved to have seen a little bit better her dealing with, it was her fault, yes, it was her fault. A few kids got sick, and that's what's going to be talked about in the news, because it's news stuff. It's something to get out. It'll get readers to read Catco magazine. It'll get readers to watch different things like that. So I would have liked to have seen that aspect, her fighting him, even though it is her fault. And it's like, but I saved everyone. And also, it was interesting. This is a nice episode directed by Kevin Smith. That was pretty cool. So it would have been interesting, like I said, to see this, it's to see that perspective. Her, fighting for the fact that, I did that and I don't change my decision. I would never do it. I would do it again if the same situation came up, It's worth it for 4% of this small town, even if this small city, even if this city is the biggest city in the world, which I'm not sure if they've mentioned New York City or how big Metropolis is, but let's say there's, 10 million people or whatever, and 400 people out of 10 million people, do that versus the 7 billion people on the planet type of thing. I just think that would have been a way more thing. And none of these kids have died yet. No one's died. They're sick, but not dead yet. So I think I would have liked to have seen that aspect and playing with that and dealing with the fact that, she did it, but she saved the entire world for a couple of kids, I mean, maybe 100 kids get sick but yet the 7 billion people on the planet are all okay. That math, they always talk about that math in the first season. There was the math of 4% of the entire world population and stuff. That's a ton of people. 4% or 1% or whatever of this one city versus the 7 billion. So it's not even like 1% of the world population. It's like, it'd be like 0.000001 type thing. That would make more sense. So I don't know what I'd like to have seen playing on that aspect of it and that, real world story with that, rather than this kind of, obviously this guy's, it's not really her, he poisoned the kids. That was just kind of stupid and silly. And, I don't know. I didn't really like it and stuff. So I didn't really. I mean, it was fun. It was interesting to go through, but it was obvious that he was going to be behind it. I would like to have seen her be her fault, Lena's fault, and go through that stuff. So the other storyline with Alex and Maggie and stuff, I was never really rooting for them or not rooting for them or anything. It was just kind of ambivalent to their relationship. It was sometimes kind of interesting when they did the buddy cop thing and things like that, and disappointing we won't get that anymore, or less connections to eventually getting to maybe having a Batgirl on this show. That actually maybe now there's a more connection, because Maggie might end up dating someone who moves into town who is Batgirl. That could be a cool way if they deciding something like that up. That would be awesome. If we got like a Barbara Gordon or actually Batwoman, if I'm not mistaken, who she dates in the comics or marries in the comics. So it would be interesting to see where things go with that. Now, it definitely gets me excited, since we do have the crossover coming up, not next week, but the week after. And based on set photos, we know that that's when, based on even the promotional poster that they put out, we know that that's where they're going to be doing Barry and Iris's wedding. And knowing that and seeing that pictures look like Alex is going to be involved. Her reaction to Barry and Iris getting married only a few weeks after she broke up with her girlfriend, I think that's going to be really cool to see how she plays with that. I think it's going to be cool to see where this goes. Now, the one thing, though, it looks like next week's episode, they're going to be going to going back home, which could be interesting, things like that. But that kind of seems like they're setting it up so that, well, maybe Helen Slater will go over to the crossover with her, and maybe Helen Slater, if I'm not mistaken, Dean Cain. We haven't seen Dean Cain since he fought Metallo or Cyborg Superman in last season when they were. When the Cadmus was trying to send off the ship full of refugees, full of aliens off the Earth and stuff, and Supergirl pushed it down that episode. So it would be cool to see if maybe does Helen Slater go over for the crossover? That would be awesome. I doubt it though, but it seems like as setting up for maybe Alex and Supergirl going over for the crossover, unless Barry and Cisco next week's episode they pop up in Kara's place the same again, just like last year's crossover, but she's not there to be found. So that would be cool. Maybe he's there, then he zips around. He's like goes to the DEO, or he doesn't know this new DEO place, so he'd go to the old DEO. You'd go to the old DEO in the caves, and then find that there's no one there, and then eventually fly around the world until he found her, type thing. So it's gonna be interesting to see how that goes in next week's episode, how they set up for that. Hopefully Helen Slater goes over too. That would be cool, but I doubt it. So we'll have to wait and see where things go with that. Definitely can't wait to see how next week's episode goes. Seems like fun, them going back and seeing a bit of a it seems like they're going to be focusing a lot on their origin. I think that's probably the reason, so that they could have, if they have younger actors and not Melissa Benoist or Carla Lee playing the roles. If they have just younger actors, making them even younger, then they don't even have to have, then they can keep the Melissa Benoist and then Carla Lee can be doing episodes of the other shows, be doing the crossover. So I think that's kind of a cool way. We get the cool origin, we get the origin of the girls and stuff like that, and then we get them in the crossover and stuff. So I think that kind of works out. It's a good trade and stuff. So it's probably why we're probably not going to get Helen Slater in the crossover. She'll probably be in this origin episode as the kids are as a younger version of them. So maybe we'll also get Dean Cain back for next week's episode. That'll be cool. In flashbacks, we'll have to get him there. Unless the flashbacks are after he was left to go work for the DEO, because it's unclear. Maybe we'll get it explained next week's episode if when actual Hank Henshaw was running the DEO, from that night he picked up and tell him that night that Jeremiah left with the DEO instead of Kara, to that night that John Jones, till the night Dean Cain, Jeremiah Danvers met John Jones, the Martian Manhunter. How many years? It was a year between that. How long had he been on the part of the DEO by the time they found Martian Manhunter? It'd be cool to see how long that's been. I don't think they've mentioned that, or I forget about that. And then to see, was he gone, and did he? If there was a year or so that he was at the DEO before Cadmus, before the Martian Manhunter incident, did he, was he allowed? He was probably allowed to go home after that. He was just working for them. He wasn't, their captive or anything like that. The DEO wasn't a captive or anything. Although maybe he was a captive or something like that. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see the history of on that, and see if we get to see Dean Cain in the next week's episode, depending on the age of the actresses. These are not usually the young actresses that we usually see. We saw in the first episode, the first season and stuff. But we'll have to wait and see who we get for this. And also it's going to be interesting to see from the trailers, seeing Erica Durant as Kara's Kryptonian mother, and see what that's all about, and how why Allura is going to be in the episode. So that could be cool. Maybe she somehow visited or something, or probably was going to be another one of those alien ships, or not alien ships, alien like holographs or something like that. But that's going to be cool to seeing, getting some actual scenes with Erica Durant and giving her some lines other than that one line, that prayer that she said in the cult episode and stuff. So this definitely was an interesting episode. I can't wait to see where things go with this. I can't wait to see how things connect with the crossover, because if I'm not mistaken, next week should be its own episode, and then the week after, the episode after, we'll have Arrow, and it'll be part of there, so type thing. So it's gonna be interesting to see how that goes, and how will actually be this season. They're promising. They said it's gonna be an actual 4-part crossover, because last year it was a 3-part crossover with tidbits, you know, with 3.5, not even 3.5, like 3.2 crossover event, you know, really didn't really have anything to do with Supergirl. She was just, you know, used for her muscle type thing. But hopefully this season we get way more involved, and it would be nice to see Martian Manhunter be a part of it and the whole DEO be a part of it too, but I doubt we're going to get that at all. So let me know what you think, guys, about this episode in the comments below. What's your favorite part? What are you excited for next week's episode? What are you excited for the crossover? And definitely can't wait to see how Alex reacts to seeing Barry and Iris getting married when she just broke up hers and stuff. So that'll be cool to see that. So let me know what you think, guys, about this episode in the comments below, and what do you think of Kevin Smith's directing? I think it was pretty cool in this episode. I could see some little bit of things like the shots over around the schoolyard was way more interesting and stuff. So that was kind of didn't really see anything that kind of screamed Kevin Smith to me. Like Jason Mewes wasn't in here, nor was his daughter, unless I missed them. But yeah, it was a pretty cool episode. So let me know what you think, guys, about this episode in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.
I'm Captain America, here to talk to you about one of the most valuable traits a soldier or student can have.
Subscribing.
Sometimes is the key to victory. Sometimes it leads to very little, and it seems like it's not worth it. And you wonder why you waited so long for something so disappointing. How many more of these?
You're still here.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, guys. Peace.
It's over.